Welcome back to Distilled. We have another ImpEx 40-year, which is a blended malt.
This is about as old as most of us will ever taste as far as spirits go in general.
40 years in a cask.
40 years in a cask is a long time. So this sucker has been concentrated down by Father Time here, and we'll see how it is. I've been told on good authority, even though this is blended Scotch, it's a blended malt, so it's a blend of old malts that have to be at least 40 years old. They can be older in there. And I bought it for my 40th. It might be the last big number that I can actually drink a bottle as old as I'm going to be. But I'll take it. You got to take what you get.
What do you think of this bottle, Corey?
The printing on the bottle, the label, nothing special to me, which is fine.
If you're 40 years old, like that does all the speaking, right?
100%. Yeah, well, that's where my mind goes. Like I'm not even thinking about the bottle at that point. I'm like 40 years. What does 40 years taste like? It's also very dark.
Yeah, there's definitely there's a lot of sherry in it. I think they might have recast it into a sherry cask more recently. So it could be worrisome because maybe it was some tired old casks of some stuff that wasn't so great, and then you freshen, brighten it all up with a new fresh sherry cask. Anyway, you cut it, it's unique, and anytime you get to taste the aged spirit like this, it's just, it's always a treat.
Yes.
Closest I've had before this is maybe in the low 30s, or 25s you could find, but 40, I mean.
40 is,
yeah. I didn't even know, honestly, that it went up that high.
So this is at 45.5%, which I believe is cap strength, that's just been so kind of whittled down by time. Let's see what you think. Take your time, enjoy.
Yeah, this is not something to speed through, huh?
Oily, thick, long, slow legs. Oh, big sherry in the nose. Was freshened up with a sherry gas more recently.
Cherries.
Cherry, raisins.
Like you've been stewing pears and red wine or something.
Exactly, like a mulled wine. For the season, we're hitting into a little autumn-y kind of notes. And,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a more of an Armagnac kind of note, but they say like fallen wet autumn leaves kind of thing. So it's like
interesting.
This kind of gets a little bit of that, honestly.
Right off the bat, I just got all that cherry.
Leather now, like the old leather chair. There's dusty old library books or a bookstore. Dark fruits.
Plums.
Yeah, exactly. Dark stewed down plums. I do get some lighter, like those kind of orchardy fruit kind of notes too, but it's in a darker mulled wine, aged or stewed down kind of way.
Orange marmalade.
There's definitely jammy vibe.
Yeah, what do you call that? Or mulled wine?
Yeah.
Mulled wine, right.
Yeah, you usually take some red wine.
Some cheap brown red wine.
Yeah.
And then you just throw in like cinnamon.
Right.
Yeah, so then
you get a little cinnamon stick in there.
Cinnamon stick.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there's little spices in there. Once again, you get some of those baking spice kind of things. There's a lot going on. That's what's great is you can keep.
Yeah, definitely.
You can almost find anything you want. There's so much stuff in there.
You can tell this thing has been stewing for a long time.
Kind of fruit medley jam, and then you threw it in a jar and you left it there for 5 years, and you open that thing back up.
Now, why is it when just in a little bit of time it starts to pull that out? Why does that happen? I'm not great at this, but I can already smell, like from the very beginning smell, it's very one thing. And then you get a little bit of air, you start kind of going down this, and then there's way more. Is it like the air does something?
Yeah, and as alcohol burns off, and these chemicals, it's that solvent thing again, and some of these things, these vapors of flavors and stuff start to seep out or disassociate. And,
the volatile compounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Are reacting with air, and in your brain too, right? Your brain notices one thing, and then it gets used to it, and then now it's able to find what's below that.
One of the whiskey tube gods, Horst Lunding from whiskey.com, a German guy, said that some guys he knew at the university in Germany in Munich were talking about where they've studied smell and taste, and they said there's a thing that happens. You actually drink and swallow versus spit. Your brain rewards you oh, this is safe, this is good, you actually swallowed it, and it rewards you with new flavors and sensations, smells the next sip, the next bite, or whatever it is.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think he also said there's a couple of interesting things in that kind of category of like. He also said I think when they study different food compounds that even more than cheese or wine or anything that's as far as complexity, like an array, a number of aromas and flavors, whiskey was the number one food substance or consumable they tested, the most different variety of aromas and flavors by far.
I've seen flavor wheels of whiskey. It's ridiculous. Like how much like
that's probably what makes it so interesting and so good.
I also think that though, like it takes time.
It does
to train your brain, or even just train your nose, train your palate.
You know, it's one of the healthiest things you do for your brain health, even though you're dealing with alcohol. That connection of the olfactory, the taste, and the memories, and all these things together. It's supposed to be a very good brain health exercise.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
To 40 years.
To 40 years.
40 years.
All right, here we go.
Not what you expect from this vanilla. Right?
Oh, no, not at all.
Get intense chocolate.
I got that autumn leaf kind of thing at the beginning too, that very almost Armagnac kind of flavor, and then it went to a big spice that must be European oak in there because you got real spicy, pepper spice, and then after that I got this intense raisin currant. The spice is actually really nice too, because it could just be like old flat, like just boring,
right?
And it have the little liveliness of that spice, the pepper that pokes through,
like spicy and chocolate, and leather.
It's like a good fruity, spicy chocolate, like those real fancy chocolates that you get if you're traveling to like Central America or something like that. It's a funky mix of chili and but it's really high quality chocolate that has like fruitiness to it.
It's the citrusy
and high cacao thing to it. Yeah, once again, I bet the second, third, every sip's gonna be different with this bad boy. Now it's less dark actually. The fruits, I got brighter fruits on it now. I started to drift into the tropical fruit notes. Little guava, little like mango-y, pineapple-y kind of thing. I wasn't there earlier, but now.
I used to mix Sprite and Coke together.
There's an effervescent kind of thing on it actually, with that pepper kind of thing, which I love.
Kind of reminds me of that because there is like some of these like fruitier notes over a cola note.
Yeah, there's a cola.
My impression has always been that like a 40-year is going to get so muddled. Maybe refreshing it with like the cherry, like kind of gives it some younger character. And then that's what kind of makes it successful, is that like you're getting some of these front notes of a younger whiskey, and then like underneath that you're having some of these older flavors.
That's what I'm talking about. It sings you a song. It's just interesting. This one would also be one of those ones that commands or demands your attention. You can try not to, but it's just different every sip.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
You listen to your favorite song and you hear a little like a bell or a little different, or a good book, and you read it and you just pulls different out every time, right?
This one I'm like, I just want a good pour. Give me an hour and just hang out, and then I'm good.
That's why whiskey's great too, is you can really just sit here with the glass, even with the empty glass afterward. You can smell that glass.
Oh yeah.
Watch Netflix for the next hour.
Right.
And it still will be like, oh my God, it's so interesting. So this theory of I have high quality spirits, there's a convergence at some point where like it's like, is it a whiskey or a rum or an Armagnac, or like these things start to at a high level and a high age start to meld, or bourbon, like they start to have crossover notes and crossover feel.
And then like learning about one, like, and then you try the other one, and then like it's like a synergy of like learning about this, and what you taste in this will make this one better, right?
Good well-aged rum, or Armagnac, or bourbon, like you're gonna have some major crossover notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just how those things all integrate too. That's interesting, right? It's
only so many barrels you can keep it for 40 years.
So it's a pleasure, and it's all.
That's amazing.
I mean, a friend of mine who does not usually, I don't like whiskey, And it's just, I don't disagree with me. He drank this and he was like, oh,
Yeah, okay.
I could drink this. I was like, oh, it only took a 40-year-old expensive bottle of whiskey to get you to like it. And an empty glass, it doesn't just smell like cask. It doesn't smell like sherry or just like wood. Those notes you can smell right there.
I get like
That's closer to what it smells like when it comes off the still. The way they warehoused it and the way the cask they put in, maybe it was a second or third fill cask initially, something that wasn't too overpowering. To have that distillery characteristic this old is pretty remarkable. Final thoughts?
I would not have expected a 40-year to be quite so approachable. I just feel like sipping this by a fireside, right, and just relaxing with it.
Winter
Maybe
time.
reading a book. Yeah,
Big winter
taking it
time.
Really,
Yeah,
really
me
slow.
too.
Yeah, this would be a great one to have if you're all alone.
By yourself,
Have it.
no kids.
How about you, Corey?
The smell of it was there. There was a lot of good stuff. I was having fun with it. But when I tasted it, man, that's where I was like, this is something really unique. And there was so much there. Like it just kept going and going and going and going and going and going. And it was really beautiful.
I'm happy with it. I think it even opened up even more since I first opened it, and as they do, especially something this old. And I'm going to continue to enjoy it.
Hopefully it'll last until you hit 50.
And maybe we'll hit a 50-year bottle of 50.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this bottle of ImpEx 40-year. We're going to keep going through Scotland, so stick around. Bye-bye.